Bobby in Texas is on the line, though, with a comment about some company that has had shenanigans related to it. Bobby, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So yeah, I had a little comment about Balenciaga, and I saw a video of this one of their employees had put out where they quit like on the spot as soon as the allegations were released or whatever. As soon as they found out,
Yeah,
I guess they quit. So there's a phrase back when men were men, and you were judged by a jury of your peers and hung by the neck, that if you ride with an outlaw, you die with an outlaw. And if you stick around after somebody, is committing a crime, or exploiting children at the very least, I think that there is a fine line. If you don't leave, you're, culpable.
you think so?
I think so. I think if you stand to stick around, and when you, especially after you're aware of the facts, if you're still going to collect your check, I think you should.
I haven't looked at that story at all, except for what Joel Friday, not here right now, but next week he'll be here, next Tuesday. And Hassan told me about it. What are the facts? Because the facts that I heard, if I had a job over there, it wouldn't make me leave necessarily, I don't think. I don't know,
You don't
but
think?
yeah, because not to justify working at a corrupt company, but every company in that industry, in my mind, except for Godly Gifted Gear, the fashion, Godly Gifted Gear
Right.
is Joel Fridays, is corrupt. They're all corrupt. They're all sick. And just because one, I don't know what the facts are of what was going on with them.
I mean, I think if you're blatantly promoting that type of image for your company, I don't think it really. I don't know,
like the children, like
children with the bondage bears and the babies with the covered in blood and whatever.
That is
I just
sick.
think it's pretty clear. I don't think they're making that commercial with good intentions. Like, I don't know. Maybe they.
No,
I don't know.
it's not. No, it's even like intentions in general. I don't think they matter. I think that.
And I think
you're doing evil.
The stuff that Kanye would say about cancel culture. You can't. That's what it's for.
John
the canceling things is actually for when somebody's preying on children or hurting animals or something. That's kind of what it's for. It's like, don't use the phrase of cancel culture on something like as perverse as child exploitation. It's like, that you're using, something that should be used to shut down these people that are using it for all the wrong reasons. But that's kind of the reason for cancel. That's the only, thing it should be used for, really.
John Frederick asks, and I don't think that you necessarily agree with this statement, but he asks, how is Nike better, quote unquote, better than Balenciaga? Nike.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say they're better, but they're not openly putting out pedophile and child exploitative commercials. They're doing their own evil business behind closed doors.
I think Nike's doing more harm than Balenciaga, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. But they're doing their harm behind closed doors, whereas, they're putting theirs out kind of mainstream. Like, they're kind of throwing theirs out there
Well, I don't think Balenciaga maybe priming people to be more accepting of that level of degeneracy, maybe. I suppose you could definitely argue that. But Nike is openly, not behind closed doors, openly promoting Black Lives Matter, this women's stuff, maybe the LGBT stuff. I would assume. I don't know. I haven't really specifically seen that.
I would assume by continuing to make their products in China, they're for forced labor camps and forced mutilation.
I don't
and things
care
like
about
that.
I don't care about child labor in China. I'm fine with that.
Well, it's not necessarily child labor. They're using those
slavery. I don't care about slavery.
As slave labor. But
I don't know. I feel like that stuff may be a little overhyped. But it may not be. It may be it. But
who knows?
My bigger concern with Nike is they promote Colin Kaepernick. They were the first to hire Brittany Griner. Like, Brittany Griner was the first, like, lesbian whom they hired and promoted. And they promoted her wearing men's clothes. Well, can you blame her? She has these broad shoulders. She's tall.
Yeah.
But still, she's not
the most convincing fake.
Yeah, like, these are not moral people that they're promoting and propping up. So I say that all of the culture, and you have to participate in the world, I think. And so why not be a light in a dark place like Balenciaga or Nike or Amazon or Google or Twitter or Facebook? Because that's what they do. They infiltrate good companies or good churches or good organizations and turn them liberal. Nicolas, host of Nick Stream, he cited this principle in one of his early streams a couple of times, I think, or twice. That every conservative company or group turns liberal because they get infiltrated by their enemies. So why don't we infiltrate the evil companies and turn them good?
So where do you draw the line?
Oh, case by case. Like, let the Lord lead you, for sure. Because,
for example, you think you're going to get in like a terrorist cell, and I'm going to be a light in a dark place, and I'm going to convince these, crazy people to not, blow up a place. But, like, if they get caught, you're not, you're still guilty of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some kind of levels to being that light in a dark place.
Right. I mean, it's case by case, man. You have some
child
people have some common sense.
Isn't on that line.
You're saying child exploitation as though everybody who's working at Balenciaga is participating in child exploitation.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you be? Like, if you're
necessarily.
Working in that...
If it's a big company, then you're not. Everybody who's involved in that company is not necessarily part of that company. I'm not saying that they should stay. I'm not saying that they should go. But I'm saying that on the outside looking in, we can't say.
I think it's more like somebody like that designer guy that actually has the creative, control. And I don't know, maybe his contract keeps him from being able to.
Hassan mentioned that guy Demna, but he
that's
says
what I was more referencing.
He says that Hassan says that Demna may not even have been any part of that, even the green lighting of that aspect of it.
But I mean, he's still there. He's still on their payroll.
But he may not have been he may not have been part of that. And who knows? I can't speak on that man's character or his situation or anything.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if the case is like, and maybe he wants more information, maybe there's more to learn. I'm sure there is. I don't know everything. But I mean, it's just, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not cutting him slack until I know more. He's, and kind of in my mind, he's guilty until proven innocent with the, when you're tied into that type of thing. Like, you're the designer, whether you knew or not, until I find out more, I'm looking at you with a different eye than I would have been otherwise.
It's hard for me to comment because I don't know the story. For some reason, it just doesn't interest me.
It doesn't seem like there's not any reach to it. I don't hear anything interesting. Yeah. Nobody's really reporting anything, different than what you heard day one. So yeah, it's kind of, there's not a whole lot that seems like you can really even research for it.
Yeah.
But just not to change the subject, but the NTG that just called you and
Marjorie
brought
Greene?
that up. Yeah, just to give it like just a little bit of context. Like, I think she was like putting it as like it wasn't an insurrection, like, because she said that if she,
that's how I heard it.
If she had been, if she'd have planned it, it would have been successful, is what I think how she worded it. And it's like basically saying, like, if this was a planned event, there wouldn't have been a bunch of unarmed people, marching around peacefully inside the Capitol. Like, it would have been a bloodbath, and everybody would have been prepared, to get it done. But I think that's more or less what she was saying, that it wasn't an insurrection because there was no, it wasn't planned out like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I read it too.
Right. But I know
when he said that, he said, "Oh, that's so crazy." Well, she was talking big, like, "Oh, if I had planned an insurrection, we would have won."
Yeah,
that's big talk. But and we would have gone in armed because they were not armed. It was not an armed insurrection. People were acting like, how many guns did they?
I think it was only one guy, that guy from like Texas, that had his family turned him in. I think he may have been the only one that had a gun there.
And did he have a gun on him, or did he have a gun like in the car, or did he brandish the gun, or what?
I'm not clear.
Yeah,
that's unclear.
Yep.
But I think he's the only one that they were like, they took a gun off of, or that they claim had a gun. But yeah, that was how I interpreted it. I read it on some liberal news break article earlier, and like they were all running with it, like, "Oh, look what she said, she's gonna plan one." You know, they're just shooting to the craziness, as they do with anything she says. More along her lines that are kind of on the bad is she's pushing McCarthy, like she's voting for him and stumping for him. That's more of an issue for me with her than her comment.
Say that again?
She's campaigning for McCarthy.
Oh.
She was stumping for him. So that's more like what is the issue for me, to kind of be at odds with her. I'm not going to... I still like her just because
what's the other option besides McCarthy, though?
I guess Trump. I don't know.
No, McCarthy's not running for president.
No, running for Speaker of the House.
Oh, Trump is not interested. Like, there's no way.
You asked me who's better.
No, I'm talking about who's actually running for Speaker of the House besides McCarthy.
They could put any one of those. What did Trump got put in? 73 people into the House. I guess any one of those people would probably be better.
But there's nobody who's saying, "Oh, I would be better than him."
Not to my knowledge. I'm sure there's somebody running against him. I haven't followed it that closely. I just know I don't like McCarthy. I know
Me neither.
Definitely not one I like.
He is a rhino. He's been a rhino for a long time.
Him and the minority leader in the Senate now,
McConnell.
Those two, they've got to get rid of those guys and that whole group.
To me, they're the tip of the iceberg. I think there's a whole lot of weakness and corruption in the whole Republican Party. Look at most of them voted against Steve King, Congressman Steve King, to oust him and censure him and stuff like that. Most of those Republicans.
I think the entire government has corrupted at this point. Like, you have really neither party is good. Like, they're both out for money. They're both controlled by corporate donors.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you vote for somebody that you want in there, and then they get controlled by the corporate donors that don't have any interest in you getting what you need or want. So at the end of the day, you get nothing that you vote for.
True.
So there's the occasional, good candidates that roll through that you potentially might make it better. Like, Trump wasn't perfect, but he made things better in some ways, and I'm sure inevitably things went worse while he was there. But for the most part, for me, things were better.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. Have a good day, buddy.
All right, you too. Take care. Guys, I will get back to calls and stories and the mess in the world. It's interesting how people puff up about the tips of the iceberg, such as Balenciaga or Jeffrey Epstein, when the whole world is corrupt. I guess it's like the lowering of the standards.